My sister stole my place beside the billionaire patriarch, not knowing he was the real monster. Chapter 1. The choice she stole. The day my twin sister and I turned 18, the richest family in the country sent a black car to the orphanage. The director cried as if we were being married off instead of adopted into wealth. The other girls stood by the gate and stared at us with envy. Everyone knew the Ji family name. Everyone knew their mansion, their banks, their film studios, their hospitals, and the old man who still controlled it all from a house built like a palace. My sister, Bianca Jo, held my hand so tightly that her nails left marks in my palm. But her eyes were not afraid. They were shining. I knew that look. It was the same look she had worn in my last life, right before she chose the wrong door and blamed me for surviving the other one. Old Master Ji sat in the main hall, wrapped in a dark coat even though the room was warm. He was over 80, thin, elegant, and smiling with the softness of a kind grandfather. That smile had fooled me once. It would never fool me again. Beside him stood Kieran Ji, his only grandson. Kieran was 19, tall, pale, and beautiful in a cold way, like a blade placed under moonlight. He did not look at us as people. His eyes moved over us the way someone might study unfamiliar objects placed in his house. Old Master Ji tapped his cane gently against the carpet. "The Ji family does not need two daughters in the same place," he said. "One of you may stay in the main residence and keep Kieran company. The other may accompany me to the old estate. I am old now. I prefer quiet people around me." The director lowered her head and said we should feel honored. Bianca moved before I did. She dropped to her knees in front of Old Master Ji so quickly that the entire hall went silent. "Grandfather," she said, tears already filling her eyes, "please let me stay by your side. You remind me of the grandfather I lost when I was little. If you let me come with you, I will serve you with all my heart. I will be filial to you. I will never disappoint you." Her acting had improved since our first life. Or maybe greed made her performance more convincing. Old Master Ji looked down at her. A faint light crossed his eyes. I knew what that light meant. Interest, possession, satisfaction that prey had walked into the cage willingly. In my first life, Bianca had taken one look at Kieran and chosen him without hesitation. Back then, she thought a handsome young heir meant comfort, romance, and status. She had called me unlucky when Old Master Ji took me away. But Kieran was not gentle in that life. His childhood had twisted him. His parents had destroyed each other in front of him. Old Master Ji had raised him with cruelty disguised as discipline. By the time Bianca lived with him, Kieran had already learned that affection was weakness and control was safety. She survived him, but only barely. Years later, she sat in a wheelchair at my awards ceremony and watched me receive my third Best Actress trophy. She smiled at me from the audience. That night, she locked the dressing room door from outside and set fire to the studio hallway. "If you had taken my place," she screamed through the smoke, "everything would have been mine." The fire killed us both. When I opened my eyes again, we were back in the Ji family hall. And Bianca remembered too. That was why she was kneeling now, throwing herself at Old Master Ji before I could speak. She thought she was stealing my golden road. She had no idea that the road was paved with knives. Old Master Ji gave a slow, pleased nod. "Good child," he said. "If you want to stay with me, then you shall." Bianca almost sobbed with relief. She bowed 3 times, hard enough for her forehead to touch the carpet. "Thank you, grandfather. I will take care of you from now on." Old Master Ji smiled and turned his eyes to me. "Then Chloe Jo will go with Kieran." Bianca stood behind him and looked at me. She tried to hide it, but I still saw the triumph in her eyes. "Chloe," she said sweetly, "be good with young Master Kieran. He will take care of you very well." The words "take care of" sounded almost cruel in her mouth. I smiled back. Congratulations, sister, I said. I hope you enjoy the life you fought so hard to take. Her smile stiffened. Kieran finally looked at me. His voice was low. Are you finished staring? I turned toward him. In this life, he had not hurt me yet, but I knew what he could become. I took one breath, then walked to him with the brightest smile I could force onto my face. Hello, brother, I said. My name is Chloe. From today on, I suppose I belong with you. His eyebrows lifted slightly. You want to call me brother? No, of course I did not. But I was an 18-year-old girl with no family, no money, and no way out of the G mansion yet. Running would only make old Master G curious. Fighting Kieran would only make him dangerous. So I nodded. Yes. Then I lowered my voice until it trembled. Unless you do not like me. For the first time, something like interest flickered in Kieran's dark eyes. He smiled. It was not a warm smile. Like you, he said. We will see. Bianca supported old Master G upstairs, her expression glowing with victory. I watched them disappear into the corridor and thought, you stole my past life. Now live it. My sister stole my place beside the Billionaire Patriarch. Not knowing he was the real monster, Chapter 2, How to Survive a Dangerous Brother. Kieran did not take me to the main G residence. He drove me to a smaller villa by the sea, a cold white house with glass walls, locked gates, and no servants after sunset. The driver unloaded my suitcase and left without looking back. I stood in the foyer, holding the handle of my bag. Kieran walked ahead of me without slowing down. Pick any guest room, he said. Then he turned toward the stairs. I followed him. He stopped. I stopped too. He turned back slowly. Why are you following me? Because I do not know where the guest rooms are. They are rooms with beds. Use your eyes. His voice was flat. In my first life, Bianca had described Kieran as a devil who enjoyed making people afraid. At the time, I thought she was exaggerating to excuse her jealousy. Now I understood part of it. Kieran did not understand ordinary closeness. He understood distance, orders, and boundaries sharp enough to draw blood. That was fine. Boundaries could be studied. And anything that could be studied could be used. I tilted my head and looked at him with the expression I had practiced in front of cameras for years in my last life. Soft eyes, slightly helpless, not pitiful enough to annoy, not bold enough to threaten. Brother, I said, can you show me? His jaw tightened. Do not call me that. But old Master G said I will stay with you. If I do not call you brother, what should I call you? Kieran. That sounds distant. It is distant. I lowered my eyes. Then I will try to get used to it. I turned and dragged my suitcase down the hallway, as if I really had been hurt. 3 seconds later, Kieran spoke behind me. Second room on the left. I smiled where he could not see. Thank you, brother. Chloe. Yes? Call me that again, and I will throw your suitcase into the ocean. I looked back at him. Only the suitcase? His eyes narrowed. For a moment, I wondered if I had pushed too far. Then he gave a short laugh under his breath and walked away. That night I did not sleep. I sat with my back against the bedroom door and listened to the silence of the villa. At 2 a.m, I heard footsteps pass my room and stop for a while. I held my breath. The footsteps left. Kieran did not enter. That was the first thing I learned. He was dangerous, but he was not old Master G. The old man liked to open doors without knocking. He liked to remind people that everything in his house belonged to him, including the people. Kieran, at least, still stood outside a closed door. The next morning, a housekeeper arrived to cook breakfast. She smiled warmly when she saw me. Miss Chloe, young Master G told me to prepare something light. He said you might not be used to the food here. I looked down at the bowl of porridge and the small plates of side dishes. Kieran had already left, but he had remembered that I existed. That was the second thing I learned. He did not know how to be gentle, but he could be responsible. Responsibility was a rope. If I could make him hold one end of it, maybe I could keep myself alive. For the next week, I tested him carefully. I asked for books. They arrived. I asked whether I could continue school. He stared at me as if the answer was obvious. Do you want to become useless? So I was enrolled. I asked for my own phone. He gave me one, but not before installing emergency contacts and security tracking. Is this surveillance? I asked. It is protection. Those are not always different. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said, in this family, they are. I did not argue. In the Ji family, love and control often wore the same face. The trick was learning which hand held the knife. A week later, I saw Bianca at school. She arrived in an expensive dress carrying a small designer bag, surrounded by girls who whispered at her shoes and hair clips. She went desk to desk handing out gifts. When she reached me, she placed a small velvet box on my table. For you, she said. Her smile told me she hoped I would feel poor. Thank you, I said. That annoyed her more than refusal would have. During break, she pulled me to an empty corner of the courtyard. Chloe, she said, lowering her voice, from now on, do not tell people we are sisters. I looked at her. Why? We are not living the same life anymore. The sunlight caught the pearls at her collar. She lifted her chin. I am with grandfather. You are with Kieran. People will misunderstand. Misunderstand what? Her eyes sharpened. Do not pretend. I know what Kieran is. I know what he will do to you eventually. I almost laughed. So she did remember. But instead of warning me, she was waiting for my life to break the way hers had broken before. I nodded. All right. I will not tell anyone. She seemed surprised by how easily I agreed. Then she smiled. Good. And no matter how hard your life gets, do not come crying to me. I will not help you. I looked at her expensive dress, her bright eyes, the arrogance she had mistaken for victory. Do not worry, I said. I will not ask you for anything. Not help, not pity, not forgiveness. My sister stole my place beside the billionaire patriarch, not knowing he was the real monster. Chapter 3. The Old Man's Cage. At first, Bianca's stolen life looked beautiful. Old Master Ji bought her dresses, jewelry, tutors, art lessons, etiquette training, and a new name in every social circle. He introduced her as his precious granddaughter, the little girl who brought warmth to his old age. Bianca posted everything online: a silk dress in Paris, a diamond bracelet in Geneva, tea with investors in London, a private theater in Vienna. Every photograph was polished. Every caption was sweet. Grandfather says girls should see the world. Grandfather says elegance is a habit. Grandfather says I was born to stand above ordinary people. Our classmates envied her until their faces turned green. Bianca is living a princess life. Old Master Ji really spoils her. Chloe, are you jealous? I only smiled. I had lived inside that princess life before. I knew the camera never showed the locked doors. Old Master Ji did not give gifts without strings. He paid for clothes, then chose when they were worn. He arranged dinners, then watched every gesture. He hired tutors, then demanded reports about obedience, sleep, appetite, expression, tone, and attitude. He called it refinement. He called it protection. He called it family discipline. A cage made of gold was still a cage. The difference was that outsiders admired it. 3 months after Bianca left the country with him, Kieran told me the truth over dinner. Your sister is adapting quickly, he said. I paused with my chopsticks halfway to my mouth. What does that mean? It means she asks for more than she understands. He looked at me across the table. Old Master Ji likes greedy people. They are easier to lead. I lowered my eyes. Will he hurt her? Kieran's expression did not change. He hurts everyone who belongs to him. A chill went through me. Then why did you let her go? His gaze sharpened. Did she not choose him? I said nothing. Kieran leaned back. And did you want me to save her? In my first life, I would have said yes. I would have begged. I would have believed that because Bianca was my sister, I had to protect her even from the consequences of her own cruelty. But the smoke from that fire still lived in my lungs. Bianca had killed me once. She had taken my life, my career, my future, and my last breath. Now she had stolen what she thought was my blessing. I placed my chopsticks down. No, I said. I only wanted to know. For a long moment, Kieran watched me. Then he smiled faintly. Good. Good? You are not as soft as you look. I met his eyes. Being soft did not help me before. He did not ask what I meant. Maybe he understood that everyone in the Ji family carried ghosts. 10 years passed. During those 10 years, I learned how to survive Kieran. I studied. I entered university. I learned finance, law, media, and performance. Not because I wanted to become a star again, but because those were the languages of power in the Ji family. Kieran became colder in public and quieter in private. He took over more of the family business every year. He also kept Old Master Ji away from me. Sometimes at night, I would catch him standing by the window with a glass of water in his hand, looking out at the sea. He never spoke about his parents. But once, after a nightmare woke me, I found him outside my room. He did not enter. He only asked through the door, "Are you alive?" I almost laughed through my tears. Yes. Then sleep. That was Kieran's version of comfort. Strangely, it worked. When I turned 28, Bianca returned to the country as an exchange student in the same university program where I was finishing a second degree. She looked exactly like my memories and nothing like them. Her clothes were expensive. Her bag was limited edition. Her makeup was perfect. But her eyes were too still. The brightness from the day she knelt before Old Master Ji was gone. When I opened the dormitory door, she was sitting on the edge of the bed. She looked up. For 1 second, she seemed relieved. Then she remembered she hated me. "Chloe," she said. "Long time no see." Behind me, Kieran walked in carrying my suitcase. Bianca's face went white. She stood so quickly that the chair behind her scraped the floor. "Kieran?" she whispered. He glanced at her. I did not know I had become a ghost story. Bianca swallowed. I only said your name." Kieran ignored her. He placed my suitcase beside the wardrobe, checked the window lock, checked the door, and looked around the room with obvious dissatisfaction. "You can stay here for a few days if you want the student experience," he said. "After that, move to the apartment near campus." "I want to stay," I said. He frowned. "The bathroom is shared. I have survived worse." His eyes moved to Bianca for a fraction of a second. "Yes," he said. "You have." He left after reminding me to call if anything felt wrong. The moment the door closed, Bianca rushed toward me. "Why is he like that with you?" I unpacked slowly. "Like what?" "Careful. Patient." Her voice cracked. "He carried your suitcase." "He is my brother." "Brother?" Her laugh sounded sharp enough to break. "Do you know what he did to me in the last life?" I looked at her. "Do you know what Old Master Ji did to me?" The room went silent. Bianca's mouth opened, but no words came out. Then anger filled the space where guilt should have been. "That is different," she said. "How?" She shook her head again and again. "It should not be like this. You should not be fine. You should not have him protecting you, too." There it was. Not sorrow, not apology, only the same old question. Why did Chloe survive better than me? My sister stole my place beside the billionaire patriarch, not knowing he was the real monster. Chapter 4. A sister's mask cracks. Bianca tried to act normal. She attended lectures, smiled at classmates, and told everyone she was preparing to enter the entertainment industry with G family backing. She spoke about film contracts, brand deals, directors, and red carpets as if they were already waiting for her. People believed her. They always believed expensive confidence. But I noticed the details. She wore long sleeves even in warm weather. She flinched whenever an older man's voice rose in the hallway. She sprayed too much perfume, not because of anything physical, but because she was trying to bury the scent of cigarettes, alcohol, and the private rooms Old Master G dragged her through as part of his social circle. She checked her phone constantly. Every time Old Master G called, her expression became blank. A week after she moved into the dormitory, Kieran came to pick me up after class. Old Master G wants us at the old residence for dinner, he said. His tone was flat. I looked out the car window. Do we have to go? No. That answer surprised me. Kieran kept his eyes on the road. If you do not want to see him, you do not have to. In my first life, no one had ever said that to me. No one had given me the right to refuse Old Master G. My hand tightened around the seatbelt. I want to go. Kieran glanced at me. Why? Because I want to see what kind of cage she stole. He said nothing after that. The old residence had not changed. The same carved doors, the same dark wood, the same paintings of dead ancestors, the same cold smell of incense and money. Old Master G sat at the head of the dining table, cane beside his chair. When he saw me, his eyes narrowed with interest. Chloe, he said, you have grown well. His gaze moved over me slowly. I felt the familiar disgust rise in my throat. Kieran stepped in front of me. Grandfather? Old Master G smiled. Still so protective. I only wanted to see the girl I have not seen in 10 years. Kieran took the red envelope Old Master G offered before I could touch it. I will accept it for her. The old man's smile thinned. She is distant from me because she did not grow up by my side. Bianca is much sweeter. Bianca came down the stairs at that moment. She was wearing a pale dress and a smile that looked painted on. Old Master G patted the chair beside him. Bianca, sit here. She hesitated. Only for a second. Then she obeyed. At dinner, I became cheerful. Painfully cheerful. I asked Old Master G about his health. I praised Bianca's beauty. I mentioned that many students admired her and that several young men had tried to invite her out. Bianca dropped her spoon. Old Master G's expression froze for the briefest moment. Then he laughed. Young people do like beautiful things. Bianca's face drained of color. No, grandfather. Chloe is exaggerating. I do not meet anyone. I blinked innocently. Really? I thought you were just shy. Kieran looked at me across the table. He knew I was doing it on purpose. He did not stop me. After dinner, Old Master G asked Kieran to follow him to the study. I wandered upstairs a few minutes later and stopped outside the closed door. The old man's voice cut through the wood. You are becoming disobedient. Kieran answered calmly. You are becoming old. The cane struck the floor. Do not speak to me like that. Then stop testing my limits. Old Master G's voice lowered. Bring Chloe to the old estate for a week. I want to see whether she is as sweet as Bianca used to be. My blood turned cold. Inside the study, Kieran laughed. It was the coldest sound I had ever heard from him. Grandfather, I let you keep Bianca because she chose you, and because she was never mine to protect. Old Master G went quiet. Kieran's voice softened. Chloe is different, the old man said. She is only an adopted girl. She is my sister. A pause. Then Kieran continued. You can play the wise patriarch in front of outsiders. You can chase your immortality medicine. You can buy loyalty with money until no one tells you the truth. But if you touch Chloe, I will make sure the whole world sees what kind of man you are. Old Master G's breathing became heavier. You dare threaten me? No, Kieran said. I am advising you to live longer. I stepped away from the door. For years, I told myself Kieran was only useful. A shield. A weapon. A person I could aim at enemies stronger than me. But as I stood in that hallway, I realized something that frightened me more than Old Master G. Somewhere along the way, my shield had become a person. My sister stole my place, beside the billionaire patriarch. Not knowing he was the real monster, Chapter 5. The price of stardom. Bianca disappeared from class the following week. When she returned, she looked thinner. She told everyone she had been meeting producers. She told them Old Master G had arranged a film project for her. She told them she would soon become famous. Her classmates gathered around her. Can you get me a small role? Will there be celebrities? Are you really signing with a studio? Bianca lifted her chin, drinking in their envy. Of course. Grandfather said I have the face for the screen. I sat 3 rows away and turned a page of my textbook. The entertainment industry had once been my battlefield. In my first life, Old Master G had pushed me into it with a smile. He gave me resources, directors, publicity, and awards. Outsiders thought I was lucky. But behind every gift was a reminder. Who gave you this? Who made you famous? Who can take everything back? I had survived by learning faster than he expected. I built my own team. I signed my own lawyers. I hid evidence. I found allies. By the time I won my 3rd major award, I was close to cutting his strings. Then Bianca set the fire. This time, Old Master G had given the same dream to her. Only she believed the dream was free. One night, Bianca received a phone call in the dormitory. Her face lit up. Grandfather wants me to meet a director, she told me. A real director. The project is confirmed. At this hour? She rolled her eyes. Important people are busy. She put on her best dress and left. I waited 10 minutes, then called the bodyguard Kieran had assigned to me. Follow Bianca, I said. Do not interfere unless she is in immediate danger. Just tell me where she goes. An hour later, the bodyguard called back. Miss Bianca entered a private members club. I cannot go inside. I called Kieran. He listened without interruption. Then he said, Send your man home. I will handle it. His people were better than mine. That was the truth. But I still hated waiting. At midnight, I called Kieran again. What happened? Nothing you need to see. That means something happened? There was silence. Then he said, Old Master G arranged a private dinner and called it a career meeting. Your sister was pressured to entertain investors, flatter producers, and sign documents she did not read. My fingers tightened around the phone. Was she hurt? Not physically. That answer was too careful. Kieran continued, but humiliation is still a weapon. I closed my eyes. Bianca returned the next morning. Her makeup was fresh. Her dress was neat. Her smile was almost radiant. Chloe, she said, the film is happening. I told you I would become a star. I looked at her. Did you read the contract? Her smile froze. What? Did you read it before signing? She frowned. Grandfather arranged it. Why would he harm me? The question was so foolish that I almost pitied her. Almost. Then congratulations, I said. A month later, the film project was announced. Bianca's name appeared on a press release as a newcomer supported by the G family's cultural foundation. The same day, gossip began spreading online. A blurry photograph of Bianca leaving a private club. A rumor about investors. a comment about how quickly she had received the role. She panicked. Old Master Ji told her to ignore it. "It is publicity," he said during a call she took in the dormitory. "If you want fame, you must endure noise." Bianca believed him because she had no one else. But I knew how entertainment scandals worked. Once the public learned to associate a woman's name with shame, the truth arrived too late to matter. I could have left her there. I should have. Instead, I sent the press release, the contract rumors, and the club information to a lawyer I trusted, not to save Bianca, to build a case against old Master G. I had learned something from living two lives. Revenge done in anger burns once. Revenge built with evidence burns clean. My sister stole my place beside the billionaire patriarch, not knowing he was the real monster. Chapter 6. The Dinner That Broke Her. Old Master G invited us to dinner again before the film began shooting. This time, Bianca asked me to stay overnight at the old residence. Her voice was sweet, too sweet. "Chloe, we have not spent much time together as sisters," she said. "Stay one night. We can talk." I looked at her. "Did grandfather ask you to invite me?" Her face changed. "No," I smiled. "Then why are your hands shaking?" She hid them behind her back. Kieran heard the invitation and refused before I could answer. "She is not staying." Bianca's eyes filled with resentment. "Are you afraid I will steal her from you?" Kieran looked at her coldly. "I am afraid you will sell her to save yourself." The room went dead silent. Bianca slapped him. The sound shocked even her. For a moment, she looked terrified of what she had done. Kieran slowly turned his face back. He did not touch her. That made it worse. "Do not mistake restraint for weakness," he said. Old Master G laughed from the head of the table. "Enough. Family should not quarrel." Family. He loved that word. He used it like a lock. During dinner, Bianca barely ate. Old Master G praised her upcoming film and criticized her posture, her weight, her voice, her expression, her obedience. Every compliment had a hook. Every joke made her smaller. Then he turned to me. "Chloe, you should learn from your sister. She understands that success requires sacrifice." Kieran placed his glass down. "Success that requires surrender is not success." Old Master G's smile disappeared. I looked at Bianca. She was staring at the table, breathing too quickly. For the first time, I saw clearly that she had begun to understand. She had not stolen a crown. She had accepted a leash. After dinner, I found her in the garden. The moonlight made her face look hollow. "Chloe," she said without turning around. "Did you know?" "Know what?" "That he was like this." I did not answer. She laughed softly. "You did know." "You remembered the last life, too," I said. "You knew Kieran could be dangerous. You chose grandfather because you thought my life had been easier." Her shoulders stiffened. "I thought you had everything." "I had awards," I said. "I had cameras. I had dresses. I had people screaming my name." I stepped beside her. "And I had no freedom." Bianca's eyes reddened. "Then why did you never tell me?" I looked at her. "In the last life, would you have believed me?" Her lips trembled. "No." We both knew the answer. She turned away. "I will still win," she whispered. "If I become famous enough, no one can control me." That was the saddest thing she had said all night, because I had once believed the same lie. "Fame does not break chains," I said. "It only makes them shine." Bianca stared at me with hatred. "Do not act superior. You have Kieran protecting you." "Yes," I said. "And you chose not to." Her eyes went cold. "Then keep him close, Chloe. You never know when a monster remembers he is one." I smiled faintly. That is why I never stopped watching. My sister stole my place beside the billionaire patriarch, not knowing he was the real monster. Chapter 7. The Medicine. Bianca's film never began shooting. 2 weeks before the start date, a financial investigation froze several accounts connected to the Ji family's cultural foundation. A legal notice was sent to the production company. 3 reporters received anonymous documents about Old Master Ji's use of shell charities to move money, silence people, and control young performers. I did not send all of it, only enough to make people look. Old Master Ji hated being looked at. He summoned Bianca back to the old residence and did not let her leave for 3 days. When she returned to school, she did not speak to me. But she did something else. She watched Old Master Ji's medicine schedule. That was when I knew her hatred had finally found a direction. Old Master Ji had a heart condition. Everyone knew it. He carried emergency medication everywhere and treated each pill as if it were a royal seal. In my first life, he once told me, a person who controls medicine controls life. I did not understand then that he was not speaking about himself. This time, Bianca understood too well. One afternoon, I visited her in the dormitory and found her staring at a small white pill bottle. She closed her hand around it the moment I entered. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Nothing." "Bianca," she laughed. "Do not look at me like that. You wanted this too." "I wanted him exposed." "You wanted him dead." The words struck the room like thunder. I walked toward her. "If you cross that line, you will not be free. You will belong to him forever, even after he is gone." She looked at me with bloodshot eyes. "You do not get to lecture me. You hid behind Kieran for 10 years while I lived with that old demon. You chose him." Her face twisted. "And you let me." There it was again. Her favorite escape route. Whatever she chose, the blame had to end with me. I suddenly felt tired. "Yes," I said. "I let you choose." She stared at me. "I let you choose because in the last life, you killed me for the life you thought I stole. I let you choose because I was done bleeding for someone who would burn me to stay warm." Bianca went silent. For a moment, I thought I saw guilt. Then it vanished. "Get out," she said. I did. But I called Kieran the moment I left. "Old Master Ji's medicine," I said. "Check it." Kieran was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "If she has already done something, we cannot erase it." "I know." "Do you want me to stop her?" I looked back at the dormitory building. A lifetime ago, I would have said yes. This time I said, "I want the truth recorded." The next day, Old Master Ji died. The official notice said heart failure. The Ji family announced funeral arrangements before sunset. Bianca arrived at the company headquarters the morning after the funeral wearing black pearls and a face full of victory. She walked into the boardroom and declared that Old Master Ji had promised to leave everything to her. The shareholders stared at her. Then someone laughed. Not cruelly, worse, dismissively. "Miss Zhou," the finance director said, "Old Master Ji transferred most of his voting shares to President Kieran Ji months ago. His remaining personal assets are under legal review. There is nothing here for you to inherit." Bianca froze. "Impossible." The director adjusted his glasses. "Also, your entertainment contracts were signed through a foundation now under investigation. Your legal team should contact ours." Her face collapsed piece by piece. Then she saw me seated beside Kieran. "You," she whispered. I said nothing. Kieran closed the folder in front of him. "Bianca Zhou, we have also submitted evidence regarding Old Master Ji's medication irregularities to the police. If you have anything to explain, do it to them." For 1 second, she looked like a child, lost, terrified. Then madness swallowed her. She pointed at me and screamed, "Why are your legs still fine? Why are you still protected? Kieran, look at her. Break her. Destroy her. You were supposed to destroy her." Kieran's expression turned colder than I had ever seen. "Take her out." Security moved forward. Bianca did not fight at first. She only stared at me with a hatred so old it no longer needed words. That hatred was not finished. My sister stole my place beside the billionaire patriarch, not knowing he was the real monster. Chapter 8. The Crash. The shareholder meeting ended quickly. Outside the company, reporters were already gathering. The Ji family scandal had spread faster than anyone expected. Old Master Ji's death, frozen accounts, suspicious contracts, and Bianca's failed claim had become one story in the public eye. Kieran walked beside me through the front entrance. "You should not go back to the dormitory," he said. "I know. I will arrange security." "I know." He stopped. "Chloe." I looked up. He seemed tired. Not physically. Something deeper. "You always say you know, but knowing does not mean you cannot be hurt." I wanted to tell him I had been hurt enough to learn. I wanted to tell him that the only reason I survived was because I stopped expecting safety from anyone else. But before I could speak, an engine roared. Kieran's head snapped toward the sound. A black car shot out from the side road, accelerating straight toward us. Behind the wheel, Bianca's face was twisted with tears and rage. Her mouth moved. Even through the glass, I knew what she was saying. "Die." Everything slowed. Kieran shoved me with both hands. I fell hard against the steps. The car hit him. The sound was so loud the world disappeared for a second. When I lifted my head, Kieran was on the ground. The car had crashed into a stone column. Smoke rose from the hood. Security guards rushed forward. Someone screamed. Reporters scattered. I crawled toward Kieran. My hands shook so badly I could barely touch him. "Kieran!" His eyes were closed. Blood ran from his forehead. "Kieran, wake up!" He did not. For the first time in this life, I felt the old terror return. Not fear for myself. Fear of losing the one person I had told myself was only useful. At the hospital, doctors took him into surgery. Bianca died at the scene. I heard the words and felt nothing at first. No relief, no sadness, no triumph. Only a blank space where my sister had been. Maybe we had died together long ago in that first fire, and everything after was just the echo. Kieran woke 2 days later. I was sitting beside his bed when his eyes opened. For one moment, he looked confused. Then he looked at me. His gaze changed. It became sharper, older, colder. My heart stopped. When he spoke, his voice was rough. "So," he said, "this time, you chose correctly." The blood in my body went cold. "Kieran?" He stared at me. "I remember." I could not move. He remembered the first life. He remembered Bianca choosing him. He remembered what he had become. He remembered me living under old Master Ji. He remembered the awards, the fire. Maybe he remembered everything. His mouth curved into something that was almost a smile. "Chloe Jo," he said softly, "you really are my good sister." I stood too quickly. "I will call the doctor." "Stop." I stopped. His eyes stayed on me. "Did you ever see me as your brother?" My fingers curled at my sides. "Rest first. Answer me." His voice was weak, but the command in it was not. "Even for one moment," he said. "Were you ever sincere with me?" The room was silent except for the monitor beside his bed. I had lied to him for 10 years. I had acted helpless when I was calculating. I had called him brother because I needed a shield. I had taught him to protect me, praised him for protecting me, leaned on him because it worked. Somewhere along the way, the lie had changed. But lies do not disappear just because feelings grow around them. I lowered my eyes. "I used you." His breathing changed. "I know. I used your guilt, your loneliness, your need to protect someone. I knew what kind of person you could become, and I shaped myself into someone you would not hurt." His face was unreadable. I am sorry, I said. The apology felt too small. But I do not know how to love cleanly. Not after old Master Ji. Not after Bianca. Not after dying once. I only knew how to survive. Kieran closed his eyes. For a moment, I thought he would tell me to leave. Instead, he asked, "And now?" My throat burned. Now I do not know where survival ends and family begins. His eyes opened again. This time the coldness was gone. Only exhaustion remained. Then learn. I looked at him. He turned his face away. I am tired, Chloe. I will get the doctor. This time he let me go. My sister stole my place, beside the Billionaire Patriarch, not knowing he was the real monster, Chapter 9. The brother I chose. The doctor said Kieran was out of danger, but he needed observation. I nodded, signed the forms, and went back to his private room after collecting a few clothes from home. The bed was empty. For a second, I could not breathe. A nurse passed behind me and sighed. He insisted on walking. Patients never listen. The room tilted. Walking, not dead. I turned so quickly that I nearly dropped the bag. Kieran? He stood near the window in a hospital gown, one hand gripping a crutch, looking annoyed at being caught. "What are you crying for?" he asked. I touched my face. My fingers came away wet. I was crying. In my first life, when the fire started, I had not cried. I had been too tired, too empty, too certain no one would come. Now Kieran was standing in front of me, alive, and I was crying like a child. "I thought you died." He looked at me for a long moment. "Would that not be easier for you?" The words struck harder than I expected. "No," my voice broke. "No, it would not." He did not move, so I walked to him. For once, I was the one who reached out first. I wrapped my arms around him carefully, avoiding his injuries. His body stiffened. Then slowly, one hand came down to the back of my head. "You said you used me," he murmured. "I did." "You said you did not know how to love cleanly." "I do not." "Then why are you crying?" I closed my eyes. "Because if you die, I will not have a brother anymore." The truth came out before I could make it beautiful. Kieran went very still. I continued, voice shaking. "In the beginning, I called you brother because I needed to live. Later, I called you brother because you protected me. And now I think I call you brother because you are." His hand tightened slightly. "Even knowing what I was in the other life, you are not that person now. I could have been, but you were not." He laughed quietly. "You set a very low standard for family. Then raise it." For the first time since waking, Kieran truly smiled. It was faint, tired, and still a little sharp, but it was real. "Fine," he said. "I will try." Outside the hospital window, morning light spread over the city. Old Master Ji was dead. Bianca was gone. The Ji family was under investigation, but Kieran had enough evidence and enough power to cut away the rotting parts. As for me, I no longer wanted awards handed down by monsters. I no longer wanted a life that looked beautiful from the outside while burning behind closed doors. I wanted something quieter. A university degree earned under my own name. A career built without chains. A home where doors stayed closed unless I opened them. And perhaps, if we both learned slowly, a family that did not require either of us to bleed. Kieran looked down at me. "Chloe." "Yes?" "If anyone ever tries to take you away again, tell me first." I smiled through the last of my tears. "And if you ever try to lock me in the name of protection?" He raised an eyebrow. "You will run?" "No," I said. "I will make your life miserable until you learn better." He laughed. "That sounds like my sister." This time, when he said the word sister, I did not feel like I was wearing a mask. I felt like I had been given a name. My sister stole the life she thought belonged to me. She thought she had taken my blessing. But some lives are not blessings. Some are traps dressed in silk. And some monsters are not born from darkness. They are made there. Kieran and I both came from that darkness. But this time, we did not become what the Ji family wanted. This time, we walked out. Together. End outro. If this story made you angry, emotional, or relieved that Chloe finally chose herself, leave a like and tell me in the comments, would you have warned Bianca or let her live the life she stole? Subscribe for more female-led drama stories from her plot twist.